Good day, everyone. Welcome to episode 4 of our lecture series in 21st century literature from the Philippines and the world. For today's episode, our topic is all about literary reading through a biographical context. Okay, they said that while it is important to know the characters in literary texts, it is also essential for readers to understand the author's background. It is not only the characters that we know the characterization, but also it's very important that we know the background of the authors. Why? Because from the author's background, we can understand fully the content of his work. Through studying the author, they may be able to connect the characters' look and their morals to the author's life and analyze the patterns of behavior shown between and among the characters, the author, and the reader himself. After all, it is through getting to know others that we also get to know ourselves better. Yes, that's true. So, by knowing the characters through their characterization in the story and knowing the background of the author, like his life story, you can connect. You can connect the characterization of the characters and the background of the author to yourself as a reader. Okay, so let's discuss the reasons to read literature through a biographical context. What are the reasons? Why do we need to read literature through a biographical context? Okay, first, understanding the author's life can help you understand his or her work thoroughly. Okay, just as what I said, in order for us to understand the work of the author, sometimes we need to what? We need to look for the author's life, whether his biography, which is written by somebody, or autobiography, which is written by himself, in order for us to know his life experiences. Because most of the work of the author, if not all, they are based on their real life experiences. So when you are going to it, for example, this particular short story, and when you analyze it, you will see that it's based on the life story of the author. If that is the case, you are using biographical approach. So it's very important that we know that we understand the author's life, the author's biography or autobiography in order for us to understand fully his or her work directly or indirectly because as what I said again and again, biography of the author or life story of the author is very, very important in analyzing their work. Okay, this time, let's discuss the biographical strategies to be used in literary reading. What are the different biographical strategies that you may use when you are reading any literary work? Okay, first, you need to research on what the author believes and also what he or she does not. Yes, that is very important. Why? Because class, parang ganito. Kung ako yung author at ikaw yung babasa ng aking ginawa, dapat alam mo kung ano yung aking mga pinaniniwalaan at sa hindi pinaniniwalaan. Okay, you must know my belief and what are those and those that I do not believe in. Kasi, for example, ang laman ng ating sinulat, ito ang pinaniniwalaan ko tungkol sa life after death. Naniniwala ako diyan. So, kung ikaw ay naniniwala din sa life after death, then ang aking gawa ay tungkol sa life after death, then madali mong maiintindihan. Pero, halimbawa, ang pinaniniwalaan ko ay hindi ako naniniwala sa life after death. Then, ikaw naniniwala ka sa life after death. Di ba? Then, my story tackles about life after death, which is based on my perception, based on my opinion. So, mahihirapan kang intindihin yung aking sinulat kasi hindi tayo magkapareho ng pinaniniwalaan. So at least, kung alam mo yung aking pinaniwalaan o hindi, mas madali mong maiintindihan kasi alam mo, kaya ganito ang kanyang atake, it is because he or she does not believe in life after death. Kaya ganito ang kanyang atake ay kasi naniniwala siya sa life after death. Ayan, that's number one. Research on what the author believes in and also what he or she does not. Number two, analyze how the author's belief system is reflected on his or her work. So, kagaya na sinabi ko ngayon, i-analyze mo kung paano yung kanyang paniniwala ay makikita doon sa kanyang sinulat. Pangatlo, look at the author's other works and analyze if there is a pattern with regard to the theme that is indicative of his or her life and beliefs. That's true. Look, most of the authors, if you are going to compare their works, for example, if you are going to read the work of Shakespeare, William Shakespeare, so most of the themes of William Shakespeare tackle about love, tackle about deception, and it is more on tragedy. So, pag binasa mo ang kanyang mga play, lalo na yung mga tragedy, halos pare-pareho ang pattern. There is a pattern. There is always what? There is always the theme of love. Then, there is always this tragic death of the main character. And then, there is a deception also. So, those are the common things that you are going to find in the work of Shakespeare. So, if you know the author's work, and if you are going to compare his other works, you will find the pattern. So, it's very easy for you to understand his work. Okay, so those are the three biographical strategies to be used in literary reading. Again, research on what the author believes in and also what he or she does not. Number two, analyze how the author's belief system is reflected in his or her work. Number three, look at the author's other works and analyze if there is a pattern with regard to the theme that is indicative of his or her life and beliefs. Okay, so this time I will discuss the guide questions when you are reading any literary works through a biographical context. So guide questions in literary reading through a biographical context. Okay, number one, you must need to know what year was the text written and published. Yes, that's very important because the time setting when the text was written and published maybe is different from the time that you are reading the text. So yung kalagayang kapaligiran nung panahon na sinulat or pinablis ang isang literary work ay maaaring iba ang literary background or kalagayang pangkapaligiran nang binabasa mo na ang literary text. For example, if you are going to read the work of Shakespeare again, it is different from the time that you are reading now because the background, literary background during the time, noong time na yun ay kakaiba sa kalagayang pangkapaligiran sa kasalukuyan. Okay, number two, is there anything significant that happened in the author's life during this time? Yan. So, tingnan mo raw kung mayroong mahalagang nangyari sa buhay ng author, sa buhay ng sumulat during that time. Because from that, you can connect it in order for you to understand the content of the story or the content of his work. Number three, what were the circumstances that happened to the author before the writing of the text? That's another important question that will serve as your guide when you are analyzing one's literary work. So, tingnan mo rin mga circumstances, yung mga bagay-bagay na nangyari bago sinulat yung literary work ng author. Kasi, sabi nga sa inyo, maaring yung panahon bago niya sinulat ay iba sa panahon ng sinusulat niyo ito. At sa panahon ng binabasa mo, magkakaiba yan. So, you can what? You can connect it in order for you to understand the content of the story or the content of his work by knowing the circumstances that happened before writing of the text and during the time when the author wrote the text. And you can connect it and compare to the time when you are reading the text. Okay, another, where there are several drafts of the text, why this question is being included? Meron daw bang maraming drafts? When we say drafts, mga nang isinusulat ba niya ito ay maraming paulit-ulit na kanyang revision or paulit-ulit na kanyang sinusulat para mapaganda ito. So, it's very important. Why? Because if the author's style is like that, when he's going to write the text of his work, hindi ba may mga author na pag sumulat, ang daming nagagamit na papel, ang daming paulit-ulit sa simula pa lang, pag hindi maganda, crumple yung paper. Then, simula ulit. Then, pag di na maganda, crumple again. So, were there several drafts of the text? Because sometimes, if that is the kind of author, sometimes yung author ni ganyan, they want their craft or their word to become perfect. Another, what can you say about the changes that the author made? Ayan. So, for example, dun sa kanyang unang gawa, then, nabasa mo yung kanyang unang ginawa, then, yung kanyang another draft, yung sunod na kanyang ginawa, meron daw bang pagbabago doon sa ginawa niyang unang draft, pangalawang draft, pangatlong draft? So, you can what? You can compare it. So, from that, you can what? Understand why the author made several drafts of his text. Next is, what aspects do you think the author struggled with during the revision? Okay, that's true, that's correct. So, kailangan alamin mo kung ano ang dahilan bakit maraming draft, maraming revision ang ginawa ang author. Why? Sabi nga sa inyo kanina, most of the authors, they want their work, they want their craft as perfect as possible. Because in order for them to what? In order for them to satisfy their readers when reading their work. So, what is the effect of the revisions to the published text? Ayan. What is the effect? Napaganda ba ang kanilang ginawa after their revision? So, or lalong mas hindi na intindihan. So, it's very important that you know how many drafts, how many revisions that the author has made in his work, and what is the effect of the revisions to the published text. Okay, next is, are there characters and situations in the text that could be representative of or are similar to the ones in the author's life? Ayan. Characters and situations in order for what? In order for you to understand better the content of the author's work. Sometimes I said some of the characters are also based on the personality of the author. Some of the situations are based on the real life experiences or real situations to which the author has experienced or to which the author was involved. And last is, how will knowing about the author amplify your appreciation of the work? Yes, it will help you to appreciate the work of the author if you understand his biography or his autobiography or his life experiences. You can connect it with your experiences, with the characters on the story, and in order for you to appreciate and understand better his work. Okay, let's take this example. The short story written by Manuel E. Arguilla. It is entitled, How My Brother Leon Brought Home a Wife. Okay, Manuel E. Argilia's How My Brother Leon Brought Home a Wife is a story told through Baldos, Leon's brother, point of view. So this is the point of view of Baldo, Leon's brother. So Leon here refers to Manuel E. Argilia. He narrated how Leon brought his soon-to-be wife, Maria, the wife of Leon, in their hometown in Nagrebca, La Union, to meet his family. In order for us to analyze the story using biographical approach, we must consider some facts about the author, about Manuel E. Argilia. Okay, these are some of the facts about the author. Manuel E. Argilia was an Ilocano writer who is known for his short story, How My Brother Leon Brought Home a Wife, which won first prize in a Commonwealth Literary Contest in 1940. He was born on June 17, 1911, in Nagrebcan, La Union, to Crisanto Argilia and Margarita Estabilio. He was the fourth child in his family, owned a small piece of land in their town. So Manuel E. Argilia was a provinciano. Uh, he hailed from the province of La Union. So if you're going to analyze based on his on the fact presented, uh, and he is a provinciano, so you will what visualize the life of the people living in the remote places, living in the typical province. So this is a story of how my brother Leon brought home a wife. The story started when Leon and his younger brother Baldo were both waiting for the arrival of Leon's wife, Maria, riding in a carretela. Carretela looks like a calesa. As Baldo saw his older brother's wife, he described her as lovely, tall, and beautiful. He narrated their journey to Nagrebka, their hometown. Leon wondered why Baldo drove them to the Waig instead on the Camino Real. Waig and Camino Real are both roads going to Nagrebkan. Baldo answered that he drove them to the Waig because their father told him to follow the Waig. The Waig route served as a test for the wife to see if she could really live in a province, which was very different in a life in a city where she lived. While traveling, Maria described the place of Leon as clean and free of dust and smoke. Maria admitted of having some fears if the father of Leon would not accept her as to be his daughter-in-law because she may not be able to survive the life in the province. When they got home, Leon's family talked to Maria. Baldo and his father had a conversation about what had happened while they were traveling. The father asked Baldo if Maria was afraid in their place. Baldo answered that Maria wasn't afraid and instead she enjoyed the. Okay, in order for you to visualize the story, here is the comic format presentation. So on the first frame, Maria stepped down on Casalin's carretela. Carretela was owned by Casalin, and she saw Leon and Baldo waiting for her arrival. Then, when Maria arrived, they decided to go to Nagrebcan because Leon wanted to introduce Maria to his family. It's on the second frame. On the third frame, as they continued their journey to Nagrebcan, Leon asked Baldo on who told him to drive through Waig, and Baldo answered that it was their father who told him. On the fourth frame, Maria and Leon talk to each other while looking on the stars above and tell Maria that if she wants to see stars, she must come to Nagrebcan. After their long journey, they finally reached Nagrebcan. They left Baldo to watch for Labang. Labang is the carabao who pulled the cart. And Maria was afraid because she thinks that Leon's family might not like her. And on the last frame, when they got home, Leon's family talked to Maria and Baldo also talked to his father about what happened when they were traveling. He said that Maria was not afraid and instead, she enjoyed their joy. Okay, let's give the analysis using biographical approach. Okay, how my brother Leon brought home a wife is the story of a man, and this man is the author Manuel E. Argilio, introducing his city-born wife, who is Lydia Villanueva, and her character was Maria, this more provincial family. Transpires in Barrio Nagrebcan in La Union, the birthplace of Manuel E. Argilia, the author. You will immediately realize how the writer loves his hometown by the vivid imagery and sensuality that he offers on the plate. From the shapes and the sounds to even the scent of the air, Argyle spares no detail to prove that beauty exists in Nagrebla, because the place was very provincial, in which there is a peaceful and simple living, which will serve as a challenge to Maria. Leon's wife, Leon is the author, Manuel E. Argyle. Leon's wife that will lead to the main idea, which is Maria being tested with Leon's family, especially his father, if she will be able to live a simple life in province away from their city. So, look, kanina, dun sa facts presented about the author, we said that Manuel E. Argilla was an Ilocano. He hailed from Nagrebcan, La Union. He was the fourth child in his family, owned a small piece of land in their town. So, ang lugar nila ay very typical na probinsya. So, kung i-visualize mo, parang baryo. Kaya nga, baryo Nagrebcan. So, dun sa story, Leon brought home his wife in order to for his family to meet. And he was Maria. Si Maria, si Lydia Villanueva. So, knowing the facts from the author, we do understand what this story is all about. Look. So, look in the analysis. It transpires in Barrio Nagrebcan in La Union, the birthplace of the author. Then, it shows how the writer loves his hometown by the vivid imagery and sensuality stated in the story, from the shapes and the sounds to even the scent of the air. The place is very peaceful and there is a simple living, which will serve as a challenge to Maria. Kasi si Maria ay galing sa syudad, galing sa Manila. To which, in the end, natanggap naman ni Maria at mali ang kanilang mali yung kanilang idea or mali yung kanilang suspetsa na hindi matatanggap ni Maria ang simpleng pamumuhay sa probinsya. So, look, at the end, if she, Maria, will be able to live a simple life in province away from their city. So that is how to analyze the a literary work using biographical approach. Again, you will study the facts from the author, the condition, the situation during the time when he wrote the story, and of course, you must know the personality or the characters also of the author. So that's all, guys, for episode 4. Hope to see you in the next episode on episode 5. Bye bye.